There is a magnificent sight that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people over time have flocked to and visited in the middle of New York City, in the middle of Rockefeller Center at Christmas time. What is that? You know, in a blink of an eyelash, what I'm talking about, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode of my show. This is the longer form content in the afternoon. I also do have a no frills video, which comes on at midnight, and that one is 5 minutes or less. But Jan, what does that have to do with the price of fish? Not talking about fish. That beautiful, tall, tall tree. I like to go there myself. It is a wonderful thing to look at. Been doing it since childhood. It's a great thing to do. And if I don't have an opportunity to go there, I certainly watch on TV the tree lighting ceremony. It is just such a fun thing. What does this have to do with anything? That tree probably belonged to a private person. A person, usually I've noticed they seem to get these trees from many times, not always, but usually in areas in upstate New York, if I'm not mistaken. These trees grow randomly in people's, areas, and, you know, they are kind enough to forfeit their family tree, if you will. I call it a family tree, but in the real tree sense. And they look at this beautiful tree. It must be hard. It must be hard for them to give up their own tree. You see where I'm going with this? But if you think about it, the tree where it exists, for example, it's probable that not that many people get to see it. But with the kindness and generous donation on their heart and mind and soul to have this tree go as the Rockefeller Center tree, that tree can be looked at all across the world every single holiday season. What an act! What an act of generosity. Now, to me, that's making the best, right? Of something you have. Now that is on a humongous scale. And that's the very reason I chose that as an analogy. Humongous, humongous. Many times, oftentimes we hear to make the best of the stuff that we have. All our lives we've heard that. This is not a new concept, but it is the truth. It is the goodness, honest truth. How do you feel, for example, when you are able to not have to go to the grocery store this time around? Why? Because you planned so well, you looked around your home or apartment, you made the most of and the best of what you already had. That is an amazing feeling to be able to skip a trip to the grocery store and to stall out spending some of that grocery budget money is amazing. I see nothing wrong with that. And actually, I think that's a wonderful, wonderful feeling, in my honest opinion. How do you feel when you do things like that? I feel great. I feel totally, totally great. Or, for example, if you have to go to a special occasion, for example, and there are so many people they give in to whimsies of, fashion and, the latest stuff out there. Well, if you're not one of those people and you want to just, let's say, wear a monochromatic outfit with a pretty accessories and you look just fine and you take great pictures, you see where I'm going with this? You just made the most of what you already had without having to spend that extra whatever you would spend normally on those party type of outfits. It takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of thinking, but the job can still be accomplished, okay? Or let's say, for example, like really tightening this up to the person that has 3 days left to payday. How many people go through this? A lot. Because a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. They have 2 or 3 days left to payday, and they're like, what on earth am I going to feed my family? Okay, 3 days left to payday. They look around their refrigerator and they formulate a beautiful soup or a stew and they stretch it and the family gets to eat. This is really important. These are the important things. It really is very important to be able to make the most out of what you have. And instead of buying a whole new outfit, if you could just tighten up the buttons or clean it up a little bit, repair that outfit a little bit, you'd be shocked and amazed. There are so many things we can do. We just have to want to do them. But if we do those things, why not decide to make the most of it with a smile on our face? Like have that attitude of gratitude. Yes, I am awake. I am able to, I will try my best to make that minor repair and prevent an unnecessary purchase. I will choose to go to the thrift store and buy very decent item at the thrift store, whether it's furniture or whether it's clothing or whatever it is, and get it for a fraction of the cost, a fraction of the cost. Although lately some places have gone up because a lot of people jumped in on the thrift store bandwagon over time, which is totally understandable. I totally get it. But still, you'll probably get a way better deal, especially with furniture. I've noticed with the furniture, you could get some really, really good deals. There are ways and there are ways. But the sad way, excuse my cough, the sad way is when people feel so sad and sorrowful and have this like negative attitude. I don't want to fix that. I'm tired of wearing that outfit. This, that, this. If everybody had that attitude, I don't know. I just don't think it would be a really good thing in my honest. Also, looking back at the grandiose level of giving something up, like that Rockefeller sent a tree every single year. It's fascinating when I hear it's always coming out as a little story that such and such family from such and such location, this was their tree, blah, blah, blah. It seems to me like a little something, something, if you will. That's a big something, something, because they gave up their tree, the tree that belongs to them. And recently, one of my dear commenters and viewers, an avid viewer, an avid commenter, and by the way, thank you so much for all of that. I really do appreciate you all the time. You know who you are. Mentioned that one of their trees actually is in a park. How cool is that? I think that takes a lot of love and generosity and sharing as trees continue to grow and grow and grow. I've looked at some trees in my local area that I remember my entire life they were there in my local playgrounds, for example. I remember them, they're the same tree, and I'm like, wow, wow, I remember them. Even if I move away, go back, tree is still there. It's just so absolutely wonderful. What kind of things can we do to not just make the better of something, but make the best of something with the stuff that we already have? Can you take, for example, that roast chicken that you had last night, instead of being, like not frugal and maybe saying, I'm just going to toss that thing out in the garbage right away, which of course wouldn't be in my case. I would never do that. But that's me. Everybody's different. I would say, I see a soup in my future, a good one. Even if the weather is warm, who's to stop me from putting it in the crock pot? That does not throw off heat. And I can make those soups ahead of time and I can freeze them because between now and two shakes of a lamb's tail in my location, by the end of September, it is certainly cooler, absolutely cooler in my neck of the woods. I'm just saying. So even if it's still pretty warm right now, I could still prepare those soups in my crock pot. I'm just saying. So we can make the best and put a smile on our face, make the best and the most of what we have. What do you have today that you can make the most of?